Good morning and welcome to Morning Rush. I'm Holly Furfer in Atlanta with a look at the headlines this hour. Last night in Los Angeles, police wasted no time enforcing the 8 p.m. curfew that the city imposed to try to stop the ongoing protests. Several arrests were made as police on horseback controlled the hundreds of protesters that continued the days-long demonstration against President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. Earlier in the day, the president deployed the U.S. Marines to L.A., though none were seen on the streets on Tuesday. That was in addition to the few thousand National Guard troops that were also sent by the president.
I've deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, if we didn't do it, there wouldn't be a Los Angeles. It'd be burning today.
Donald Trump's government isn't protecting our communities. They're traumatizing our communities. And that seems to be the entire point. California will keep fighting. We'll keep fighting on behalf of our people, all of our people, including in the courts.
Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joins us now live from D.C. in our newsroom. Joe, all right, let's first talk about the war of words that seems to continue and escalate between the president and California governor.
Yeah, it's another morning in which the president has woken up and is tweeting, posting on social media about California. We should note that it is now 9 a.m. in the east, 6 a.m. in the west. The curfew imposed by the mayor of Los Angeles, the 10-hour curfew, has now lifted. As you noted, now the LAPD is reporting, confirming that north of 300 individuals have been arrested over the course of the last 2 days. What you are also saying, and this is important, it's not the entire city of Los Angeles dealing with a curfew. A very small subsect of downtown LA has dealt with this curfew. Now to the president's words and what he said within the last hour. If our troops didn't go into Los Angeles, President Trump writes on Truth Social, it would be burning to the ground right now, just like so much of their housing burned to the ground. The great people of Los Angeles are very lucky that I made the decision to go in and help. A very similar refrain that we heard from the president in the last 24 hours about his involvement. Of course, it's an involvement that has not been welcomed by the Los Angeles Police Department, the mayor of Los Angeles, the governor of California, Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been a longtime critic of President Trump, prospective 2028 presidential candidate as well. He gave a late night speech in California about the unfolding situation in America's second largest city. He's called President Trump's use of the National Guard, the Marines, a, quote, brazen abuse of power. California may be first, the governor of California said in his speech last night, but it clearly will not end there. Other states are next. Democracy is next. Think about this. This is the governor of America's largest state saying this about the president of the United States. Here's more from the governor of California.
Democracy is under assault before our eyes. This moment we have feared has arrived. He's taking a wrecking ball to our founding fathers' historic project. 3 co-equal branches of independent government. There are no longer any checks and balances. Congress is nowhere to be found. Speaker Johnson has completely abdicated that responsibility. The rule of law has increasingly been given way to the rule of Don.
And of course, this story does go beyond Los Angeles. There have been protests in all corners of the country. Denver reported a large-scale protest last evening. This weekend, on Saturday, a No Kings nationwide grassroots movement is expected to take place in dozens of cities to counter-program, if you will, President Trump's military parade in the nation's capital that is marking the Army's 250th birthday. So we're going to have still several more days of protest activity that we'll be watching very carefully here, Holly. But you said it at the top, Holly, the war of words continues between the governor of California and the president of the United States.
And Joe, have we heard anything from Congress at all? I mean, Gavin Newsom makes a point. We haven't had any statements, but have you heard anything from the men and women in Congress?
Yeah, I mean, you have California's delegation who is pretty much echoing exactly what Governor Newsom is saying. You have Democrats in Congress who are saying, wait a minute, the National Guard wasn't sent in to help protect them on January 6th, and yet they're being sent to L.A. when the L.A. Police Department isn't even asking for it, when the mayor of Los Angeles isn't even asking for it. There have been calls for investigations, but we're falling among familiar fault lines here where you have Republican leaders in Congress, and we should be clear. Republicans control Congress, so any type of inquiry, any type of grand investigation, it goes through Republicans, and there is no sign that any Republican is breaking with the president on this issue of the Los Angeles protests. Again, it's important to remember how this all started. It all started because of immigration enforcement action in Los Angeles County over the course of the last several days, Holly.
All right, Joe, I want to switch gears a little.